Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Eric at Covenant of Love. I'm going to be doing a response to a couple of these videos by Mac. One, he contradicts himself quite a bit, and I'm gonna be going through the video light, laughing at cattle, being like a child, and using fractal. Although I'm not going to go into that very much. I will say this: if you guys go to I think I have like 4 as above, so below videos. I go into in depth quite a bit on the Masonic floor, the 2 pillars that he does, but I go through it visually. If you overlay those pictures, you see the reflection of light in your mind. Okay, so when you take the Masonic floor and you lay it over the brain looking at light, it's the same thing. So when Max talks about people being locked in the system and this and that, he's wearing clothes that are, made by machines. He's, got shoes on. He's sitting on a couch. He goes and buys guitar strings. He has a guitar. He's in the system. So the system for those that are awake is the here and now, the literal moment that you live in. So it's being aware of the past. It's preparing for the future, but it's living in the now, seeing it all as a whole. So those are the 3 pillars, put simply, but through light. So the ecliptic is all great and whatever, but we also have Venus, which for many years I was attacked for talking about. Can Saturn be Venus? No. But can they both have the 5-pointed star? Yes. But when you look at the 5-pointed star as 666, it would have to be a 60-year cycle of Saturn is when it makes its 5-pointed star. But most everything that we operate off of is the Venus. The people that run the world are into Venus just as much as they are into the cube. They both have to do with the other. So Venus welcomes the light. It also puts the light to sleep every night. Okay, we know how powerful they thought the morning star was back in the day. So Mac talks a lot about nothing new under the sun, and that he's free of the system. But everything is new because you're a living being in the now. So everything you do is new. But the systems are being taught from one man to another for those that actually are questing it. So anybody that's in the quest is awake. They're on the path, not the 2 paths or the 3 paths, because the two and the 3 are one. So all these paths that he's talking about are you living in the now, seeing light. Light is the giver of life. With that water, we need the 4 things to make the spirit. It's very simple stuff here. But laughing at cattle, he says that music, nothing, it's all been done before. But here he's lauding music as the inner teachings of a deeper meaning. He's using a musical-based system from man, and even though he may feel it in his soul, someone has done it before. So is his soul just somebody else's soul? Are we talking about is he teaching, reincarnation? So then in this video, he starts slamming DJs. Now, DJs, especially because I follow this quite a bit on kxlu.com, and I highly recommend this channel. I put it as a feature, but it's a college station here in Santa Monica, and they have all sorts of different stuff, but they definitely highlight the latest DJs. So they've kind of even left music in some respects. They've actually are doing stories now where they go back and they get old movies and then they interact them with music and sound effects. Being an artist can be anything. For me, like in martial arts, you're living the art. You're seeing the art. Okay, so when he sits there and say, "Well, you're copying this and that," and that just music does this, music integrates with the system. Music integrates with life. Music integrates with stories. So for him to just say that DJs are shitheads and these different things shows his lack of maturity and in my opinion, a slight bit of mental illness. He's contradicting himself when he talks about music. There are no new chords. He can go to France right now, and I think you can get 10 grand for putting 4 new chords together or something like that. He also says that music betters him, but it doesn't better him because he insults the cattle. Now, any one of us that has a good heart would hope that these cattle awake. We don't chastise them, we don't belittle them, we don't berate them, because we've come out of the system. We understand that we were once in it. So he can sit there and say, "Well, I'm not in it," but he is in it because he's wearing the clothes, he's got his hat on, he's playing his guitar, he's doing his thing. He goes to the store and buys the strings to play the instrument. And when I came on here in the beginning, I used to talk about Enoch's son, the evil Cain, the line of Cain, and how King David played the harp so well. People dismiss that, but it's in the Bible, and I take it literally. That being said, he shows skull and crossbones quite a bit, the old black and whites. He's still not getting it. I was going to do a video on Ezekiel, I think it's 34, where they talk about crossing the bones. So Calvary is where Christ died, and he uses Christ a lot, which means anointed. We're all anointed with the Spirit because we're all alive. Okay, there are no Gollum. Okay, there's no Gollum up in a church somewhere that was once living that had saved a town. Okay, that's what you call superstition and myth. He's obviously a gatekeeper because he says he doesn't want the shortcutters. But anybody that's looking at his videos aren't shortcutters, or they have to have some base knowledge to be where they're at looking at this stuff that we do. He goes in to talk about how it's everybody copies off man, but you're copying off man. That's why you're a contradiction in terms, because you're in a musical system. When you turn on that stereo that is behind you playing the guitar, okay, all that background music, okay, you're copying something. You're staying in something that's been created. Okay, so you're also very strange within that circumstance. Also, be like a child. Okay, you talk about the Christ inside. Okay, well, you talk about a mediator or a higher. You're teaching a higher power. So that the reason I don't push Christ is because I believe that we all have the spark of God inside of us. That's Gnostic, yes, but it's true. We all are alive, simply alive, and I don't need anything outside of this to be alive. To embrace what was taught by Christ, like Buddha, like other people. See, these religions were created around 500 to 600 AD. They have the same message inside. So this is created by groups of men. Now, are they good or evil? Well, if they were totally evil, most of us would be dead and enslaved. That is coming to fruition. We are now going to have the battle of good and evil. So he talks about how people shut down kids for asking questions. That to me is like such utter nonsense. It's unbelievable that it even came from his lips. So you may not like the answers that people give, but no one's shutting down children from asking any type of questions, okay? My thing is read. Why do you read? Because it builds a brain that is connected. So the more you learn things, the more dots that are connected literally inside the sheathing of your mind, the alloy that is the receptors that work electrically with light. Those things build through reading. And when I knew that I had come to a better understanding is when I started to read 5 books on the same topic with completely different points of view, but could understand the running thread through all of it. And this is what I highly recommend to people, is that you get into the books, that you read. That doesn't mean that you don't live in the now, that you don't remember the past, that you're not preparing for the future. You're in life. You're living life. And if you hold back and you don't try to learn as much as possible, which the easiest way is through books, You know, the computers now are doing it, but you need older books. You need you need to do the latest brain science activities, especially IQ builders, and you need to go back to mid 18th century to early 18th century books, and it's going to give you a total different viewpoint of the entire world. Then as you get into history like Inky 35 and the stuff that I've been putting out on Egypt, and Danny Whitten is also doing very good work in this, you'll start to see a much larger picture. And it's not just light, it's the pedosphere. And it's about the world that we live in. It's also the things that we go to look. As you know, in science, the smaller we look, the smaller it gets. The bigger we look, the bigger it gets. We're in a living universe. So I think children have the ability to see this. My I don't want to go into detail because of this type of person he is, but let's just say my family is learning astronomy, not astrology, astronomy already in kindergarten. So it's a much different world with depending on what school you're in and how you help your children. I believe that children should ask tons and tons and tons of questions. The only one shutting them down is you because you're angry. And then he gets down to, people don't ask because they're nervous or something. Nobody's going to ask you a question because you threaten to murder them and you say these heinous acts. And then you're talking about asking the inner teacher. Okay, you're teaching that's Buddhist philosophy, that's Hindu philosophy. So you're mixing, is it Krishna the Christ, or where are you coming from, Mac? Because you're in a lot of different places. Now, last you have afraid to ask, and it's crazy. But let's talk about light for a second, because I bumped into some professors talking about it in a dental school. They were talking about how light is 3D. And I wanted to clarify because you guys talk about yellow a lot, but the light sphere is a 3D images. It's actually 3D. It's red, green, and blue. So green is the esoteric color for Saturn. And I have found Saturn and Phosphorus and Lucifer in Rome, so I'm going to have to go back and look at that and try to break that apart. But these colors are actually 3D. They can be seen under a microscope as a 3D image. So, there's a lot for us to learn. And I don't think that, and this big thing here, you guys, he said F. Pythagoras. Now, Pythagoras and Plato are the structures of our society, especially in America, whether people realize it or not. Plato plays a huge part in our actual republic, and that republic has an ends to a means, which would be a UN of some type. So you can talk communism, but you also have to talk about the republic and what the republic actually is. So when you say fuck philosophers and these different things, it shows your immaturity, because everything you do is a copy. Okay, I've seen the look with the shirt and the hat on thousands of men. There's nothing new about you. There's nothing different about you. Your guitar playing is not that good. I know a lot of people in the industry. So a lot of you don't know about me, Mac. And as these things open up, I'm going to start talking more, and we're going to start showing you for what you are. Because you used to call me the gatekeeper, but what you did is you flipped the script. You're the gatekeeper. And it's starting to be very seen out of your own mouth, especially within your contradictions. So with Pythagoras and the right angle, that's pretty much everything that has to do with building anything. Especially when we get into geometry and building, bending pipe and running electrical work and building walls and electrical grids and plumbing grids. All these things that you're talking about wouldn't be without the Masons and society and law. So you laugh at all these things, but utter chaos means that we go back to you can't leave the house because they're going to rob you, and you've got to guard your food supply every single day. You can't even leave your house. Okay, the beehive has been built for a reason, and my opinion is the infrastructure was built because there is a cataclysm coming, and they do this quite regularly. Anybody that looks at the old videos that first came out, the esoteric agenda, you will see that they talk about the 25,092-year cycle. The numbers are different for some people. Some people say it's 27,000, but the bottom line is they have a story that they give to the people every 3,000 years, 4,000 years. So we're living in a system, and that's what it's about. So when these people sit here and I'm in a higher thing because I'm in music, but I'm not into this. There's no difference between your artwork and, say, painting. painting's more real, but the colors were brought out from somebody. Somebody went down in the hills and, got a plant and ground it out and got the color. All these things are the human experience and the human evolution. And what people do is they want to separate evolution from God. And the thing is, they're both there and they're both the same. God is all things. That's why there is no adversary. The adversary is the adversary of humanity. So if we embrace what you talk about, which is this guy Jesus Christ, then you should know the message. And it's turn the cheek. It's not punch him in the face like you said in one of your videos towards me. When you talk about punching me, okay, that shows your character. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So this video's for you. This is actually dedicated to True Speller. I just like your attitude. And I dig on the clothes as well. But yeah, Mac, you keep talking like you're a kind-hearted person. Nobody wants to ask you anything, dude. I used to ask you and you would just talk shit. When I met you, you were an angry person. Today, you're still angry. You make a soft video and then you make an angry video. You make a video where you threaten somebody and then you pull it. You ask questions and then you hide. This is who you are and this is what you've done. And this is Erica Covenant of Love. Thank you for your time. So what's the most important thing in life?
Reading and writing.
Thank you. And that's what it's about. And when I say reading and writing, I'm talking about from all around the world. Yeah, that Tower of Babel, let's recreate it, huh? I don't mean that. But what I am trying to get to, and the point is that our children need to be well read so that they can understand the people around them, especially like those that have read Machiavelli. And then you start to understand the hypocrisies of religion and the hypocrisies of all governments, and that you have to see that the people need to come together. Now, you can try to put it under a banner of red or blue or white or whatever you want to call it. We don't need any of those things. We don't need the names. We don't need the labels. We need to be one people, and that means to help free the children around the world. It's not just about Mr. Guitar Player looking at light and understanding the deeper mysteries of life. If he does that, he understands that he should have compassion, and that he understands that right now there are little kids that are in being child trafficked. There are children that are chained. There are little girls of 8 years old getting married to men that are in their 60s. These are things that need to stop. And there also are other sicker agendas. I would send you to the political report for that, or the political port, excuse me. These are the things that are really important, the real things that are happening. So it's not just, again, these are 7 veils, and until you pass all the veils, all the chakras, and get above the neck, it's pretty clear what it's all about. For those of you that have looked at Edgar Cayce, you understand that, and Edgar Cayce's a lot like Nikola Tesla and how they got their information. I want you to take a look at that and think about it, Mac.